Be recording.
All right. Welcome everyone to the July meeting of the Clintonville Area Commission. We have a draft agenda that we need to approve. Are there any changes that anyone proposes? Is it good to go? Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's there. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able, please stand. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Let's begin with district updates. Commissioner Morris.
Mark Morris, District 6. A lot of updates, and I'm trying to keep it short. I participated in the Rite of Silence. It was in May, and it's to commemorate the cyclist who died in Ohio last year. And last year, 21 cyclists were killed on Ohio roads. Always a sad event, but it's also an event that reminds me how beautiful Clintonville is. Because we're right for Clintonville. There's lots of public safety officers that block off the streets, and it's very quiet. So North High Street, quiet, no stinky cars. Same on the 4th, and so it really feels very pleasant. Feels very different. The other, most of the updates are about Wesley Glen. I've had a meeting with Jill Easterling and John Homer. Jill Easterling is the executive director of the Wesley Glen. John Homer is from Life Enriching Communities that bought up Wesley Glen. They have a number of properties. That was in May. Since then, there have been a number of other meetings because one of the reasons is that Wesley Glen bought up 3 properties. I think this was discussed in the last meeting. And they want to expand and grow Wesley Glen, but the neighbors on Fenway are concerned about what they will build. So the new zoning code, they can build up to 5 stories or up to 7 stories, 18 houses into Fenway. So rather than just on High Street or close to High Street, way in the neighborhoods. Wesley Glen doesn't have clear plans yet. So they're developing those plans. So it may not be a 7-story building or a 5-story building, but the residents are concerned. This Monday, or last week, I met with Louis Stela from, let's see what department it is. So, the development planning department. But he's in charge of the zoning program. And I want to get more information about what is possible. And he confirmed that it is possible to build a 5-story, 7-story building way into Fenway Road. I asked a question. Did last month that people talked about Title 33 and Title 34 in terms of the process?
No.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
So there's 2 routes that you can ask for zoning variance, and the normal one was Title 33, which means it comes through the area commissions. There's an opportunity for residents and area commissioners to give feedback. But the new zoning codes, the city council has a new way of getting a zoning variance. It's only for particular cases where there's a kind of a jigsaw puzzle piece is missing. That's how Councilmember Dorans described it. And with that, Title 34 doesn't go through area commissions, but goes straight to City Council. It still goes through the Department of Planning, which then asks for feedback from all the other departments like utilities, recreation and parks, to give feedback on the zoning variance. Normally, the request for zoning variance comes with a plan, so that departments can make an informed assessment about how the new zoning will affect the area. since Wesley Glen doesn't have a plan yet, departments have to evaluate it, the zoning variance, without knowing what they're going to do with those properties. And the city council members also have to vote on it, zoning variance, without knowing what exactly will happen. Last Monday, I had a meeting with Friends of Fenway and 4 representatives of Wesley Glen. This was organized both by Tim Krier from Friends of Fenway, as well as Councilmember Dorns. We spoke for an hour, and we spoke to listen and express concerns. One of the sense that I got is that, this is my impression, that Councilmember Dorns was also kind of uncomfortable with using this Title 34 for this particular case, because there was so much resistance from the neighborhood, and it's unclear what the development plans are. One of the outcomes of that meeting is that discussion will continue. So the folks from Wesley Glen said that they organize another meeting with the Friends of Fenway, also with Councilmember Dorns, after Labor Day, so sometime in August, September. And then the idea is that those communication channels are still open. And later we have a separate issue about the demolition of the properties that Wesley Glen bought. So my main role has been listening to both parties and getting a better sense of what's going on in terms of the zoning variance. This is new for the council and it's new for the city, so it'll be interesting.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller?
Yeah, Drew Miller, District 9, no report.
Thanks. Commissioner Salzman?
Yes, Angela Sasser, District 4. I wasn't here last month, so I wasn't able to say that the farmer's market is back. I know this is something that everyone really loves. We do too in District 4, but it also creates a lot of parking issues in District 4. So I've been hearing a lot of complaints and concerns and issues from neighbors related to the parking. I'm going to do a survey for the district just to get feedback from them on how they think we should address this issue.
Thanks. Paul Loudon, District 1. The Indianola repaving and restriping is complete, pretty much. I see a lot of cyclists on those bike lanes. We'll have a little bit more about that later on. And a church in our neighborhood at 350 East Tulane is for sale. It's 20,000 square feet. It's right across the street from my house. And there's a lot of curiosity in the neighborhood as to what might be coming out. So that's something we're all keeping an eye on. Commissioner Platt?
Will Platt, District 3. Received a complaint related to the lake paving. There's a house very close to Studio 35 at 3076 in Enola that has repeatedly been, they have a driveway and people park basically blocking the driveway 4 or 5 times a month. And can you imagine not being able to access getting out of your house? It's been a repeated issue. They have at least communicated to me that they've asked multiple times through the city to address it. It has not been addressed. I can understand their frustration, so we'll be reaching out to the city to address that question, but understand their frustrations. There's also received a complaint about where the rain garden mid-guard is going to go in. The folks participated in all the public processes related to it, was told it was going to be in another place, and then when they actually came to do the writing, it was in someone else's yard, their yard. So they have opinions about it. I know that rain gardens in general are an issue that people have feelings about. This is also the 86th day since I made a public records request from Zone In for some public records related to their surveys, their digital information, all of the stuff related to the planned development, I actually don't necessarily even disagree with the positions, but 86 days is a clear and unequivocal violation of public records law. And so if we are here as public advocates and they aren't the city won't do their job to complete those tasks, I don't know what we are to do. I mean, am I to sue them? Like, if they won't complete like a public records request? But I'm happy to share with the commissioners the initial request. I've also requested it in this meeting before, and no one will do it. And so if this is not just a perfunctory like process, actually the city should respond to us. So I am frustrated with that. And it's functionally illegal. No, it's illegal. No, it's illegal under the law. They are violating the law. So I am frustrated, even if I don't disagree with the outcome of it. But like, how are we to communicate to our constituents if they won't do their job under the law? So that's a consequence fundamentally of arrogance of a city government that believes that they actually don't have to respond to their constituents. The only other thing I have to say is that like the unionization drive that like has happened at this library and across the city, I believe will be successful. So the workers here who have not had representation, I believe will. And so I'm very thankful for that. But I am very, very disappointed in a city government that will not do their basic functions of providing public records when, whether it's a city or an area commissioner or anyone else, like won't even release the information that they're required under the law. And that is deeply concerning.
Thank you. Commissioner Arnold?
Hi, Brenda Arnold from District 2, and just some neighbors once again commenting on the speed of cars coming off the 315 ramp traveling east on West North Broadway through the light at Milton. So people are still using that as part of the bike path rather than the new one. So it would be great if we just had ways to monitor that speed. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wyman?
Commissioner Wyman, District 7. I had a resident reach out about the upkeep and maintenance of the rain gardens. They've made, they've been very active with the project blueprint. So it looks like the city's handling it, but they're still very, what's the right word is? And then had another neighbor reach out about deer. He had to drag a dead one out to the curb, out onto the street a couple weeks ago. So when we get the city updates, I'm going to ask about the ordinance, where we are on that. And thirdly, had a resident reach out about a chicken coop and run that's very large, with manure and things running onto her property. So she's probably here to speak on that tonight during public comment. And that's all I have.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody. Next is approval of past meeting minutes. So we're behind on this because last month we were only 5 of us here, but the secretary wasn't. So we can approve, we have a quorum to approve the May minutes, but not the June minutes because we don't have enough people here from the June meeting. So are there anything you want to say about the May meeting minutes?
It's so long ago. Whenever I got feedback, I incorporated it, and so I put recent version. I think the updates were minor.
Right.
And I shared them with you all before, so I think they're ready to be approved.
Do we have a motion to approve? Great. Second?
I'll say.
All right. Everyone in favor say aye. Against? They're approved. Okay. Yeah. This is one of those weird times. So the May minutes are now approved, and next month we'll have to approve June and July. Just a heads up. Okay. Treasurer report, Commissioner Miller.
Yes, so our budget, our fiscal year restarted. We have $2,500
We've had two expenses since then. June 11th was $150 for the election ad in the spotlight. And then just today we had the second election ad, also $150. So we have $2,200 left.
Great. Thank you. All right, next up is Chair Dahl with the update on the CAC elections this August.
Hey there. So the districts up for election this year are 1, 2, and 9. Election day is August 22nd. Early voting is August 18th in this location. Candidate petition packets are available at the front desk out there. The deadline to submit candidate petition packet is Monday, July 13th at 4 p.m. So far, 2 people have picked up the candidate petition packet. Paul Latta, District 1, Brenda Arnold, District 2. And again, the deadline to, submit everything is July 13th. The deadline for writing candidates to submit a completed candidate packet is Friday, August 7th at 5 p.m. So if it turns out for any district that has just one, if the scenario plays out, that has just one certified candidate and no writing candidates, the election for that district will be canceled and that candidate will be declared the winner. So we'll see how everything plays out. Still plenty of time to get the required signatures and get those packets in. I did want to also share an update on the election rules. Last time I was here, we shared some recommendations for changes to the rules generated by the committee, and one was to change our approach to campaigning to allow campaigning anywhere outside the front door, provided that folks have to comply with library law too, and that would govern in the election committee would not interfere with any enforcement of library rules. So we kind of ran that by, and that was based on some feedback from the local library staff. But after last month's meeting, we did hear back from the Columbus Library's government relations head, and they had some feedback that they were uncomfortable allowing campaigning anywhere outside that front door because Whetstone, as many people know, serves as a polling location for many other elections, and in those elections, campaigning has to occur at least 10 feet, 100 feet from the front door, and they didn't like that inconsistency, even though this is obviously a smaller commission election. So based on that feedback, and because the library obviously provides the venue for our elections, we want to be sensitive to that, and so we changed the rule to allow campaigning, but we're reverting back to what it was last year. So you have to be at least 100 feet from the front door, and we got permission to chalk the line this year, so we'll be forced that way. And that all made its way into the rules, so the petition packets are current. We'll get that update. Any questions?
Any questions from the commissioners?
Hey, I appreciate the committee's work on that. I think that's fine. One thing, and I don't think we guys probably have support of the body to do, but something that I would highlight is that we've created a culture where we have very low participation in general, culturally for this institution. And so there was a constitutional change that was made so that if you're the only person that you're then the representative, which is fine, but in my opinion, you should actually have to demonstrate that you have popular support in your district, as opposed to just being oh, I'm the person who's going to do it, and therefore, and this is no criticism of any of the leaders in this room, but I would say go out and do the goddamn work. And I don't think it's broadly been done, and I would ask that we consider for future elections we go back to a process in which at least you have to show that people in your district want you to be the representative, because otherwise it's this is a performative experience. This is just a dog and pony show. So I would ask us to at least create a context where your neighbors have to go out and vote for you and show that you actually are the person that they want there. And if not, it's more of a reflection of us as a body than it is of any individual. But I would say we're at a low point for the function of this body as a relevant institution organizationally for our neighborhood. And to demonstrate otherwise, I would ask the people here to go out and get the votes to show that you are the representatives of the areas. Because if you've looked over the last like 5-10 years, almost none of the folks here have really been elected. And that's weird and not really reflective of what a democratic society should look like.
Thanks. Any other comments?
What if nobody else, if a commissioner is running unopposed, what is that?
Unopposed meaning, they would be declared the winner. And if there's no certified petition candidate and a write-in, just one write-in candidate comes forward and is certified, then the write-in candidate currently under the rule would be declared the winner. Regarding your feedback there, I would just point out the election rules have that, they were added several years ago. Again, if there's only one candidate, they're declared the winner for that particular district. But I think it's also in the bylaws, so it would be a bylaw consideration too if you go that route.
Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners?
I would just comment that I don't know if I would agree that it's a low point as far as participation goes. I've been involved with the area commission for close to 10 years now. I think it generally ebbs and flows, just kind of depending on what's going on. Obviously, things like Wesley Glen bring out more people, and I think it gets more people involved in understanding what the commission's all about. So I think a lot of it just depends on what's kind of happening, what's being proposed. That's my only comment.
Just to reflect on that, though, I guess my point is more that if you are to be the commissioner for a seat, it shouldn't just be that like you signed up because you've been a part of the club. It's that like you can demonstrate popular support from your neighborhood. If you can't do that, that is problematic. And so I'm encouraging this body to embrace democracy and embrace popular participation in the broader public.
And I would also just remind that being a petition candidate or even a write-in candidate, in order to be certified and be valid, you do have to go out and get signatures. So you don't just kind of send in your form and say I'm interested, and when it else comes in, you still need to get the signatures. But my understanding is you're saying in addition you'd like to have an election.
Yeah, because even if you're the only one, you should be able to demonstrate that those 50 people are willing to like show up and say like, not only did I like because you came to my house, but like I think you'd be a good leader. So like it takes a little more than that. Like public participation and public advocacy requires like some hard work.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Any comments from the public? Thank you, Chair Dahl, for the update. Next is updates from City of Columbus. I think Stacy.
Yep. Okay, good evening. I honestly have very limited updates. Just that the City of Columbus has published the cooling center list, which I sent out to email, but it's also on the web very easy to find if you would like. Also, CODA suspended fares during this heat wave. Sent that out to you email as well. And just a general reminder that the Dan Charles Award / Community Leaders Networking Session, say the date for September 19th. And the first round of nominations for that award have been closed, and then they will be evaluated, and then the final round for the voting will be released on the 6th. That's all. Oh, and I owe you a handbook. Yeah, I got it. I'll get to you later. Any questions? Your ordinance.
I know you're not representing city council, but where are we on the no fee ordinance?
It's passed.
Oh, it passed?
It's passed.
When does it go into effect?
I believe it is.
It is in effect, all right.
I
Thank you.
believe it is, yeah. And
And that's all it is, really, is a no
No
fee.
fee.
There's nothing about culling or anything like that.
no, just no fee for now.
Thank you.
Two questions. One is coming from the Planning and Development Committee, whether DPS can share the data from the speed study that they did on North High Street. I think that request was made last meeting, but I'm not sure if the request was made officially and how we should do that.
It was made last meeting.
Yeah.
We had a very great presentation on the ins and outs of traffic engineering. And I think there was someone was going to forward an email with the study, but I don't know if it ever happened.
That part never happened.
Okay. So you have a problem?
The other question is, so I got an email, so I went to the Ohio Traffic Summit, and then I asked for advice from engineers there about changing the speed limit on North High Street. And somebody was nice enough to give me a list on Ohio revised code. He's an engineer, not an attorney, and I'm not an attorney either. Is there anybody at the city that can help with interpreting Ohio revised code, in particular the sections, that would allow us to change the speed limit to 25 on residential streets and other streets?
Can you send me that kind of information and then I can forward it to maybe somebody at the city attorney's office?
I would ask you,
Not sure.
I don't know if anybody had the contact information from the gentleman who spoke last month.
Shall we do that?
But that'd be great.
I can-
I would encourage you to watch that video too, because we did talk about reducing the speed, and they said it was denied. 25 was denied, and they said 30 was denied, and they said it was because High Street's too wide.
But this particular email also has, of course, residential street, and I think, for example, Weber. So Weber is 45, it should be 25. And so I think that is what I'd like to know more about, all the legal tools that we can use to reduce speed. And,
Yeah, just send that to me with our information, that way I can forward it to find somebody that can hopefully help us out.
okay.
Yeah.
That's been a huge problem for Indianola KA, the speed of Weber.
Yeah, I think
Kids
this should
crossing
be,
the street there.
I think this should be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things I took from his presentation was, we were told, even by city council members, that they designated downtown as a business district, and that's how they were able to reduce the speed. And that wasn't true. That's not how they reduced the speed downtown to 25. And one of the things he pointed out was that we couldn't use the business district because now we're putting in all this housing along these main thoroughfares, like, these 7 5-story apartments. And so no one in the city is going to be able to use this business district designation because there's going to be too many housing.
They use the residential designation.
Just for clarity, that's a great question. So like if your first floor is business and the other floors are not, is that even an option? And I don't know if anyone in this body has an answer to that question, or
As far as designating an area of business district.
correct.
That was I asked them that. I asked if there was an opportunity with zone in to designate certain areas of Clintonville as a business district. It's similar to like what downtown Worthington did. And I think the general answer was basically there's not enough infrastructure on High Street to support reducing it. So my comment saying High Street's too wide, he actually said that. If there was streetscapes, other type of infrastructure along High Street, then we would be able to reduce the speed. So my takeaway is that when we look at the capital improvement plan, we should, if we are recommending, infrastructure on High Street, it's going to help our chances to reduce.
Sounds like it's a total rebuild of High Street. So
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind. I just want to clarify that process. Is what he was saying is there are basically 2 paths to get to 25 miles per hour. Because it's legally designated at 35 as the minimum for the type of street that it is. There's one is the business district, changing the definition of High Street into this other definition, which is a residential street or in a business district. And that part is what I think Commissioner Moritz is getting at of how do we do that process and what's how do you interpret that? Because that code language is not very clear to myself or a lot of other engineers, and it's a very old piece of code that really needs to be updated to reflect how modern streets are built. But then there's a second path, which is the speed study, and going to ODOT and saying this is these are the factors at play with the design of the street and why 35 doesn't make sense. And then ODOT can approve it to be lower than that. And so when he's saying it's too wide, that's basically ODOT saying for the purpose of the speed study, this is too wide where even if we allowed you to change the speed limit, that's not going to change how people are actually behaving. So we don't necessarily agree with doing that. So like there's multiple ways to go at it, and so I think the speed study problem, like that method is probably not going to work until there are projects done on High Street to calm it. You could potentially also do this sort of legal route, and like they did downtown, which is change the designation, but that again doesn't solve the design problem, which is people aren't going to necessarily drive differently just because you change the sign. So I just want to clarify that if that was helpful.
Thank you very much. Does the public have any questions?
Can I go back to the deer ordinance? How are we planning to enforce that?
The police.
So I would call the police if I see something.
A non-emergency police.
Just for clarity, and I just want to like talk about how ridiculous this policy is you have to like call the like 3 or 0 or the non-emergency number. They have to come out, see the person doing the like dumping. They have to be told no once, then they have to be caught a second time, and then they get like a small fine. And I just want to say that like if we're talking about like meaningful public policy, like let's be real about like what like we're trying to do. Like that's a silly function of city government, and it's like someone trying to do political points. Nothing to do with like actually addressing any of those issues.
Next question. Where on CPD's list of priorities is responding to deer?
I think you probably know the answer to that question.
And if they won't even come out for car crashes, do I have a non-zero chance of having a police officer? How much above zero is my chance of having a police officer come?
I mean, that's not a question I can specifically ask, but I think you know the answer.
But that's just that, but laws have authority and can persuade people simply because they're laws, even without the police actually enforcing them. Talking to the city council, one of the biggest problems with the deer is people feeding them is it habituates people, deer from getting close to people, or makes them want to be close to people. And that's at least tries to address that problem, and it says it's a bad thing to feed them. It's not, in some ways, I don't know if I really want police officers arresting people for feeding deer.
It seems like a better policy would be like a huge public campaign to educate the public about why not to feed them. So I think that might be a better way to get about it, perhaps. Any other question, or?
Can I just follow up on that question? So I know at the maybe city council said that this was the plan of the ordinance, and then they were pretty much just handing it off to the executive branch administration to come up with some new, I think they were recommending a wildlife program or something. So can you give any update? The administration side is going to be doing anything, or are we
There
just
will
like,
not be a wildlife program at this time, as far as I know.
so we're just kind of like
I
living
don't
with
know.
the deer,
I don't
living
know.
with the deer.
I'm on the administrative line. I don't know anything about city council legislation and what their intentions are, what they're
But it
doing.
didn't sound like they were going to do anything else. They were going to name the.
They made the ordinance.
Yeah, and that was it.
That's all I can honestly tell you.
And I want this on the record. I will eat my shoe if there's actually a fine that's actually delivered for this policy, and in the next year, as best I can. I know it's hardly an issue, but like I will do my best to eat it if, in fact, this like thing that's been like broadly discussed and I think has like basically no meaningful impact on our community, I will do it in this room. Just put that in the notes.
So, just a point of clarification, this
Thanks,
I think
Stacey.
this calendar year or 365 days.
65. I think 65 days is fair.
So the 365 days?
Yeah, I will eat my shoe if the government, our city government actually deploys any of the things that they're saying about this, and I will do it right here
Okay.
as best I can.
Thanks, Stacy, for your updates. And next up is the Clintonville Area Business Association. Is Aaron here? Awesome.
Hello. I'm Aaron Brown. I'm the owner of Tabletop Game Cafe, and I'm on the board of the Clintonville Area Commission. We started, due to feedback from our members, a real estate development committee to kind of discuss the fact that, as though there's some very important discussions going on about housing, we as small business owners are also concerned about what's happening to small business availability in our area as we see development through some of the new zoning projects, and some of our concerns about what happens when we get rid of some of the old traditional real estate spot for small businesses. So we started a committee, and then we're kind of like going to go through some things that we're going to try to do to help our members maintain to be part of Clintonville's community and the culture. I think small business is a big part of Clintonville's culture, and we want to maintain that. So first off, we're going to be updating our website. We have a clearinghouse of all available properties for small business, and for any business really. So we'll be talking to a lot of realtors and developers, so that way we know kind of maybe in addition to all the websites you can search. Sometimes there's just a sign on the building, and so we're going to try to go above and beyond and make one site for all of Clintonville's business locations. We did a survey to get information from our current members about what their needs are, both currently and what they project, and what some of their concerns are. A lot of the concerns are outside developers coming in, taking down old spots, putting up new spots that are no longer affordable. And so we've also been connecting our members to resources. We had Laura from the Community Capital Development Corporation come and give a speech about how small businesses can apply for the SBA 504 program so they can purchase buildings. And we had some of our members connect with her, and hopefully we'll be seeing some fruits of that labor coming up. And some of the next steps also is we're going to be, we've made a comprehensive list of some of the properties in Clintonville that we find are essential to maintaining small business culture here. We're going to start to reach out and to collect information from the landowners there about what their plans are long-term with the property, whether or not their current tenants have right of first refusal on the property, and whether or not we can start conversations about succession planning. If you're planning on retiring of being a property owner in 10 years, what does that look like? Are your kids interested, or are you going to sell it? Can we get into that conversation before it goes into the open market? We're also making some template business ideas for small business syndication, in which we take small business owners as well as neighborhood investors, form a syndicate in order to purchase the property. So that way both the small business and the neighborhood will then have more ownership of our commercial districts.
Wow, that's really terrific. Are the meetings open to the public?
It's a very small group right now that's just kind of in the early process of trying to figure out how to do this. We hope to have some more information coming up about ways to connect with small businesses, and we will be reaching out to a lot of the area landowners about what their plans are. So we hope to publish as much information as we can.
Yeah, please keep us updated, because that's really important work that you're doing, I think, because that is the character of the neighborhood, is the small businesses.
Yeah, it's why we moved here. I think it's why a lot of people like Clintonville is the small business, and being able to walk to comic book stores and ice cream and all that stuff. And if it's all large, big box stuff, I think we'll lose a lot of Clintonville.
I agree with that. Do other commissioners have any comments, questions?
I would just echo the chairman's comments, and I think there's probably both investors and community supporters for the broader vision. So as you guys develop it, please bring it back, and I think you're going to find support.
If I agree with that small investor, kind of like a penny stock kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of, we were talking with lawyers about how to make sure that we're not breaking the SEC law about offering things to people who aren't necessarily in a position to do that, but we're trying to find all the right ways to do it before we kind of open that up to everybody.
Yeah, it's a second. I think this is a great idea, and I'm very glad that you're taking action because it is in that sort of line as well. I assume you're in contact with Grant Salatier or not? From the Clintonville bookstore.
Oh yeah. And they purchased theirs through a 504 loan, and I think Purchase Salon also purchased their building through a 504 loan. So we are seeing people who are definitely concerned about it and taking action. So we're trying to make sure so we can get as many as possible to be kind of part of their ownership or owners themselves.
Excellent. Do the public have any questions?
As the chair of the zoning and variance committee, I can see one thing I've missed is I know about 15 years or so ago, the Chamber of Commerce used to regularly show up at both the zoning and variance committee meetings and the CAC meetings when variances were issued to give the business community's perspective.
Yeah.
And you folks would, of course, always be welcome. And I'll send an email with my contact information to your info email address, and I have an email list so you can be on that list and get notices of all of our meetings. But you are always welcome to come and give the perspective of the Clintonville business community on any of the variance matters.
Yeah, and as you know, there used to be the Clintonville Area Chamber of Commerce, and that kind of dissolved, and we're kind of the new thing that's taking place. So we're kind of rebuilding some of the old relationships that kind of went away. I'm excited to be part of it.
Any other comments from the public? Well, thanks for coming in, Aaron. That's really good information.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep us updated. Okay, next we have Jacob Miller here on behalf of Yay Bikes.
Yeah, so obviously I'm also the chair of the Planning and Development Commission, as you guys know. And I emailed the commission before this meeting, shared some of these details, but decided to also show up and bring some flyers on behalf of Yay Bikes, which I'm also on the board of directors of. It's an advocacy organization all about safety and promoting walking and biking, and we have this event to celebrate the opening of the Indianola project, Complete Streets project, that we've been waiting for a long time. I think it's like almost been going on as long as I've been living in Clintonville, so it's kind of crazy how long it took. But we will have folks from the city there, as well as I believe some council members. So we really hope that CAC members can be there and members of the public can be there from the community, just to kind of take advantage of this opportunity to talk to these folks with the city, but also to spend time with the community, check out this new infrastructure. It's going to be a very easy ride, only about 7 miles. We're going to be very slow and safe, and so it'll just be kind of social and fun. So I have the flyers here we do have a QR code on here to scan that takes you to the Eventbrite. That just, if you go on there, if you register, that would be great, because that just makes sure we have head count and insurance reasons and all those things. So appreciate that if you register beforehand.
What's the route?
So we're starting and ending at Yellow Springs. We're gonna basically just go down Indianola to Hudson, and then do a little loop, and then go all the way up, kind of just south of Morse. So we're gonna do a little bit of the other part of Indianola as well. But that was the best way to kind of see the whole thing, and still have kind of start and finish at Yellow Springs. So.
Excellent. Commissioners have any questions? General public, any questions? I don't know if my bike can make it 7 miles, but pretty jalopy.
You'll be good.
All right.
Thank you. I'm gonna leave this here.
Thanks, Jacob.
I got some in my garage.
Okay, next up is Sheriff Hartman. We're way ahead of schedule with zoning.
The first, we only had 2 demo permit waivers. Again, these are only to waive the 60-day waiting period for the demolition. It's not to stop it. Both of these I sent notice as soon as I even heard that they might be coming to the Clintonville Historical Society and I got acknowledgement of receipt. The first one was 110 Erie Road. The applicant came to our meeting and gave which is attached to the draft minutes, a statement from 6 of their neighbors supporting it. We saw no one on the committee saw any reason to not grant the waiver, and so we granted it with almost no discussion, just one question, that yes, there's going to be a house replacing that. We recommended unanimous approval.
Does commissioners have any questions on this? Are we ready to, what's the procedure again? Please remind me on how to vote for this. Does each person have to go through? Or
I think you have to do a motion to approve, and then second, and then the secretary sends the notice to the city that says we waive the.
Is it a
regular vote?
A regular, so everyone has to go by commissioner, everyone has to say.
If you want to do voice vote, you can do voice vote. That's your call as chair and their call as the members.
Okay.
Make a motion to my district.
Okay.
Second.
Great. Okay, everyone in favor of the demolition permit, say aye.
Aye.
Everyone against it? So that's unanimous for that one.
I think the applicant is here just in case there were questions. I thank you for coming, and thank you. The notice should go to the city tomorrow. Commissioner Moritz, do you have the original email about this somewhere? I will.
I'm sure I have it somewhere.
I will look for, after I sit down, I'll look for the original emails for this and the next one. I think the city likes a reply to all saying this was voted. This was voted.
So I know what to do.
I think is the city closed tomorrow?
Yes, the city is closed tomorrow, so they're not going to get it till Monday. But we'll make sure. Commissioner Moritz is extraordinarily intelligent in getting these specific. He would be one of the best commissions on that.
I'm good at paper pushing.
No, but that's seriously, this is one of the things that makes area commissions function, is when citizens come to us and have applications and we get the answers promptly to the city. So I wouldn't.
This month we were late with something. It was 5 months.
Meeting minutes. Oh, not 5 months. Just 2.
Anyway, the next one are the Wesley Glen, the houses attached to Wesley Glen.
Is it these 3 right here, beginning with
165, 163, and 179? 155.
It's 155.
Yeah, so it's correctly stated.
So it's this 3 right here?
Yeah, the middle is not there.
Yeah, well, this is from July of last year, so.
And just to go excellent to what Commissioner Moritz was saying earlier about this whole process, one thing I hope the city council learns from this is, and I think you can point out to them, is one service the commission does is collects community opinion and gives it to them. Right now, Councilmember Dorrance it's his job to personally work with all the community members with comments. Whereas if this went through the commission with a timely vote, that he would have less work to do, and it would be that's part of again what the commission services, being the official voice. I'd like to at least, I think whenever we can point that out to the city, that the commission acts promptly, gives prompt opinions, and actually saves them some work sometimes. But also, I do want to say about this, I think the purpose, one of the purposes of this waiver provision is to spark conversations so that owners come and talk to the community when there's been issues about properties, also historical preservation. And both the Wesley Glen and the neighbors were extremely civil and cooperative with the process, and they all deserve praise for that. And these involve 3 vacant homes. One is already vacant and abandoned, and one is they're all vacant. One of them is pretty much down already. I understand there's an issue now involving asbestos, so they might have to delay it further. There was a substantial discussion about generally what Wesley Glen's plans are, and it was very helpful to have them come. It's produced in the minutes of the direct minutes. I don't think I need to reproduce it, and we have Wesley Glen representatives here to answer your questions. in the end, everyone agrees that these houses have to come down. That's separate from what happens next, that's separate from the rezoning. But the houses have to go, so it was a unanimous motion to approve with the neighbors who, the Friends of Friendly were also there and spoke in favor of waiving the demo permit. So we recommended unanimous approval.
And for those who were absent last week or last month, these homes were used as training for police and fire, I believe.
At least one of them.
Yeah.
I think both.
So they're, pretty well beat up at this point. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a representative from Windley there?
Yes.
So I have a question. So I have heard numerous times that there is no plans. And I understand it is an eyesore. What is the rush to demo them? Are you working towards a plan for these properties?
Yeah, the plan is obviously to demo the houses and get it back to green space so everybody can be happy and see green area. We've preserved almost every tree except for 2 on the entire property for the houses going back. As for master planning, I mean, this is in the early stages, as you know, with any type of development, it's early. So you could have one idea 1 minute and then the next you go to a meeting and somebody throws out a totally different idea and it changes. So we just don't, I mean, there's no concrete. I wish I could tell the Friends of Fenway and the commission here that this is what we're doing today, but unfortunately we don't have that answer right now.
Yeah.
And as for the demolition of the homes, we participated with local law enforcement and firefighting teams on numerous occasions throughout the last 4 months. We were more than accommodating, and now unfortunately Wesley Glen is in trouble for letting the fire department do the collapse of the corner of the building to do fire and rescue. So we're trying to work as best as we can. There's a complaint about asbestos in the homes, so now the demolition is on hold. The one house was supposed to be on emergency demolition today. We had the contractor lined up to push that into the basement and then await the waiver for these 2 houses here, the 155, and then just the basement of the other. So that's on hold until we get the testing.
Yeah. My opinion, this isn't directly to you, just from what I've heard about the whole situation here, it does all seem pretty haphazard. To allow these buildings to get into a state of disrepair that they are in, that claiming that they need to be demoed quickly because of the condition. One, I don't really understand why they would ever get to that point. And 2, just from my development background, it seems pretty haphazard to go demoing a building without even having a plan of what you're going to do. So, and that's not directly to you, that's just my opinion from what I've understood about this whole process. It's very bizarre to me. I understand it's an eyesore now, so we got to get that down. So I would be voting in favor just based on how the residents of Fenway feel. But the whole situation is quite a mess.
Just to clarify, if the city deems it a safety hazard, it doesn't come before the commission, they just issue the permit because they want it for safety reasons.
So I understand you're applying for a zoning change, even though you don't have any plans?
Yes, but I'm here.
So there's some sort of plan, right? I mean, you don't just buy 3 buildings and then ask for a zoning change and not have a plan.
There are theoretical plans of what we want to do with the property, but there's nothing written in stone. So
Theoretical.
I mean, seriously, I mean, when you have a development like this, you can put one thing on there, you can put other things on. We just don't know yet of what we want to do with that property. So I can't speak for that. We have a team working on it, and they've been in communication with the local officials and with Mark over there in regards to working with him and giving him every information that we can. Every time there's something that comes up with these houses, we act on it immediately. We've been dealing with this since October when we filed for utility disconnections. And the utilities finally got disconnected in May. That's way past the city time limit of getting those disconnected.
I think the topic at hand right now is the demolition,
Yes.
not necessarily the rezoning or whatever else comes. That's the question in front of us right now. Sandy?
I think that as they sit here and listen to this, and I listen to the other meetings, this is a perfect example of why zoning doesn't do what they purport it to do. It only created a new confusion. 33, 34, who's doing what? And I think it's sad. But it's got to be bad.
I just had a point of clarity on who is the property owner for the 3 items here, because I think that's important as it relates to like whether
I'm sorry,
like,
you said.
who owns the land.
LEC communities, life enriching communities.
Okay, and can you just talk to us like in general about what that is and like what it's, I guess.
Right, we provide a better life for seniors that are looking to a community. We range anywhere from this independent living, assisted living, memory support, and skilled nursing. All at every single community that we have. We have 3 in Columbus, 2 in Cincinnati, and 1 in Cleveland.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Do we have a motion to vote on demolition for these 3 properties? Second. Second. Okay, we'll just do a voice vote to demolish all 3 properties. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone against?
No.
I abstain.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 demolition. 1 no and 1 abstention.
This is for a motion to waive the 60 days.
That's right. Okay. Thank you everyone on that. The rest of our time is for a public comment period. I understand there's someone like from your district.
Good evening, everyone.
Morning.
Good, how are you?
Can you please state your name?
Sorry.
Can you please state your name?
Yeah, my name is Paula, and I live in Clintonville here. And I've come to talk about a subject that's actually very endearing to a lot of people in the community and probably in this room. And that is chickens. In 2013, July, actually it's almost its 13th birthday, the city passed an ordinance to allow chickens in the city. And it's become a very popular program. And in the last few years, the amount of permits has exploded exponentially, especially in Clintonville. And they've indirectly affected me, and now it's getting to a point where it's kind of directly affected me. So I've come to, I tried to email Columbus City Council, and the website was flaky, and thankfully I took pictures of my letter as I was drafting it, because as soon as I was finished and was going to edit it, it dropped out. I lost it. So, but like I said, I managed to take photos and keep it. But started out the usual, to whom it may concern. We, meaning my husband and I, are not sure that allowing chickens in the city of Columbus 13 years ago was maybe such a good thing. They create a lot of noise, much squawking and clucking, surprisingly as loud as a rooster, and with frequent regularity as a rooster. They smell like chickens. I grew up on a farm, and but many owners of the chickens are negligent with disposal of manure, etc. And in some yards, such monstrous chicken coops and pens are built that even though they may be in code, just may be in code, meaning the roof line's 5'10" or 11, they become an eyesore, and they can have many chickens. The city of Columbus was advised, well, let's put it this way, the municipalities are advised to follow Franklin County's code on chicken ownership, but then it's up to the municipalities to make their own decisions regarding their rules and regulations, policies, and procedures with chickens. After reading Franklin County, I'm concerned Columbus may have taken too lenient of a role, particularly with the number of chickens allowed and the size of the coops and runs. The coops and runs are also built in convenient places like right beside neighbors, close to the neighbor's property line. Franklin County asks that the coops runs be situated minimum 10 feet from the edge of property lines. Columbus only allows 3 feet. So technically, inconvenienced neighbors can have a chicken coop 6 feet from the edge of their yard or the edge of their house. Many times the coops and pens are not discreetly put in the owner's yard, out of the way and in as inconspicuous an area as possible as to not disturb or disrupt the neighbors in the immediate vicinity. I know someone who lives a block north of me, and they are on their side of the street surrounded by 5 houses between the sides and the back of them, and all 5 of the houses own chickens. It's pretty noisy over there, and but she's like, it smells wafted across, but she's surrounded by 5 addresses that all have chickens of various numbers. Also of note is that no matter how responsible chicken owners may be, even with the most responsible chicken owners with a very small number of chickens, there still seems to be an inevitable attraction from and infestation of rats. I say that because we do have another neighbor who have 2 chickens, small coop, they're doing everything right, things right. The coop is off the ground, counter height on stilts. Since it's only 2 and it's small, they clean it every day, dispose of it in Columbus waste where they're supposed to, and they still have rats. And the rats may not establish around the coop. In this case, they've established across their yard, and they're doing everything they can to get rid of them, and they're having a double the time getting rid of them. They can't. And the burrows are on the surface, and they're just really fighting with them. Foxes and raccoons are also attracted to the chicken coops also. We have seen it. We have a whole fox in the hen house sitting out there looking at them. Many people do not dispose of the manure properly, leading to the potential contamination in neighboring yards of bacteria, bugs, parasites, and the attraction of these unwanted rodents, plus the smelling odor of the manure. I was amazed. I heard the city of Columbus started this program so households could benefit their budgets by food and eggs, etc., from the chickens, but I was really surprised years ago when I found out it's actually more expensive to keep the chickens than to buy the eggs. I was amazed. I figured it'd be the other way around. I was corrected. Many people also do not adhere to the free roaming schedule. Chickens are out of the chicken coops free roaming in their pen area or in the owner's yards for many more than 4 hours that the city wants to control bugs, parasites, rodents. They are often unsupervised, with the humans hardly out there with their chickens during their often excessive free roaming time. The Columbus City policy is you must be out there with your chickens when they are free ranging. Chickens obviously also do escape. The city has told me that once they issue a permit to these people, they usually don't revoke them. I think that's a little lenient, considering we're getting all these non-compliance in the neighborhoods. There's also people with multiple chickens creating an enterprise selling their eggs in these residential neighborhoods. Signs, a few homes have signs heavily advertising their free roaming eggs, cage-free free-ranging eggs. Sometimes I feel that it's because of the strong support for cage-free and free-ranging eggs, but also I wonder if some of it's just to expect to recoup some of their expenses with their chicken hobby. Many people, when they do have issues or it is brought to their attention that they are in violation of the rules, non-compliant, they do not fix the problems, thus creating more hardship for the surrounding and the immediate neighbors. They lie, humans are humans. Give an inch, they take a mile. I'm beginning to get concerned that this is kind of a, quote, hillbilly look for the city. And I feel we can do better than this. Right now, many of these yards that have chickens, at least in my neighborhood, are becoming kind of an outright nuisance. The code enforcement department who enforces the code for chicken coops, I feel can do a lot better job also. Again, it's very lenient. People lie. Humans, it's human behavior. Humans can get out of control. We all know that. One generation of them after another. Again, you give an inch, they take a mile. There could be more discipline and much better management to how and where people can have chickens in their yards. The real concern is the number of chickens in the city should also be limited to no more, in my big mouth opinion, 3 per address, because then that would also limit the coop sizes of these monstrous pens and coops that are being built in city backyards that would not be built in city backyards. I'm talking a garage size coop, literally. Coincidentally, and everyone in this room knows it, we're having certainly a popular problem with the explosion of whitetail. And the concern is Lyme disease carried in the deer ticks. Lyme disease is going up exponentially, particularly in the northeast U.S. and down to Ohio. And it is simply due, quoted a magazine, to the explosion in the population of whitetail. And it's amazing to think that in the city of Columbus we could get Lyme disease, but here we are. And I know the city's not doing anything this year. They passed an ordinance for no feeding. But boy, if we could get rid of about 500 to 1,000 head of whitetail. But the concern is we've got whitetail running around with carrying Lyme and their deer ticks. We have all these chicken coops, and when they've done the rain gardens, they found a real serious rat population. I remember watching Channel 4 telling people in Clintonville, watch your dogs. Rat traps were being set everywhere because they were digging these rain gardens. The rats were everywhere. And we probably now have more rats with all these chickens. So we have deer with Lyme disease, we have truly responsible chicken owners, but we have irresponsible chicken owners with probably the rat infestation rate going up also. And that just adds to the chaos and the mess of all the out of control problems with animals and being vectors for diseases in the city. It's not just raccoons and rats anymore. We have the deer, we have the chickens. My concern, again, human nature, the bad apples are ruining it for the many good apples. But my concern is that the situation with all these chickens, I mean, people have 6, 7, 8 chickens. I mean, the city has no limit on the amount of chickens people can have. I'm not so sure that's a good idea. The situation becomes a quality of life and a standard of living issue, not only for the chicken owners, but for the non-chicken owners also. There are non-chicken owners experiencing hardship and loss of enjoyment of their own yards and homes, literally. It must be remembered that the non-chicken owners, bluntly put, we're people too, everybody is important. And the non-chicken owners need the same care and acknowledgement the chicken owners expect from the non-owners. So the acknowledgement, in my opinion, does need to go full circle to return what the chicken owners expect of the non-chicken owners. It's the hole if the shoe fits. I'm witnessing and hearing that some chicken owners are not being very thoughtful of the impact they have on their immediate neighbors and the immediate surroundings. And in my opinion, that's not a real responsible approach to or for the public in general. On a personal note, I've lived here 40 years. When I came here 40 years ago, Clintonville was pristine, polished, sterling. I hope the sense of slide I'm feeling in the last few years, 10, 15 years, is all in my head. But in the very recent past, I'm now looking out the windows of the back of my house. I have to look at a 1.5 car garage sized chicken setup run approximately 9 to 11 feet from the edge of my yard. And it's such a dominant feature. It's pretty much destroyed any kind of livelihood I can have in my own home yard. It's a monstrosity, it's obnoxious, it's offensive, it's hideous, and I have a bad feeling I'm stuck. Because these people have more than 3 chickens, and they're turning their little hobby into an enterprise. And for the record, they're extremely non-compliant. I have chicken manure next door on the lawn, in the yard. Last weekend, they just pitched some more bedding in their yard. I smelled it all last year because the large manure pile at the lagoon was just several feet from the edge of my yard. I thought I was minding my own business, and I thought it was a dirt pile, and it wasn't. I would like to propose to the CAC somehow desperately talk to City Council about providing an amendment to the chicken policy before it gets out of hand. I mean, I feel the concern is, my big mouth opinion, to be let a genie out of the bottle by allowing chickens in the city. I don't think Upper Arlington still allows them. I'm not sure. I think Grove City doesn't allow them. I'm not sure about Reynoldsburg. I don't think they do either, but pretty much everybody else does. Worthington does. But did we do a good turn here? Probably the answer is yes. It's a very popular program, but I would really love the CAC to explore with City Council about reining in some of the stuff that's starting to get out of control. I can just see, again, humans being humans and stuff getting out of control. Like I said, I don't want to have car garage chicken coop next door to me, and I'll stop with it. And you know, people are allowed to do what they want in their yards. Absolutely. But I didn't sign up for this, and I don't think a lot of people would want to sign up for it either. Like I said, it's just incredibly disturbing. I just, as I say, I wonder if it isn't time to address this, to rein this in. Because if you only have 3 chickens per household, which a chicken lays off roughly approximately an egg a day. People who have 3 chickens say they get about 2.5 eggs a day. If they have 2 chickens, they get about 1.5 eggs a day. When they're molding, they're not laying. But if we don't rein it in, then we're going to have coops the size of 2-car garages. And if we limit the chickens to 3. Franklin County allows 4 on properties a ½ acre or less. I happen to be in a neighborhood that our lots are anywhere from 0.25 to 0.4, so that would limit them to 4 chickens. I think 4 is too many. 3. Again, big mouth opinion. But if we limit the chicken size, then we can limit the coop size. And there ought to be firmer guidance and directions and during inspections on where people can put their coops and runs. Behind me are 300-foot lots. I'm about 200. And these people have put this coop, again, 9 to 11 feet from the edge of my yard, instead of in the back of their yard where there's 300-foot lot behind them. And actually, around them are other people's 200-foot lot backyards. And that would be a very discreet place to put it, but it's over by me.
Well, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention, and I think would a health department call be more beneficial, because that they're the ones who deal with rats, I believe, and if you have that kind of manure kind of laying out all over the place, I think that might be more of a health department.
I've spoken to them since late winter. And the residents has been spoken to. And the non-compliance continues. People lie. People are cavalier. Like I said, that it's just getting to a point where if people can't be responsible and bring themselves in, can the city do it?
Well, thanks for bringing this to our attention.
I brought pictures if anyone would love to see it.
Does anyone have any comments or concerns? Any comments from the public?
I know the Columbus vet, Dr. Adam something or other, I found him to be very responsive. I'm a chicken owner as well, until some critters got him. But he'd come out a couple of times to sort of guide me on the kind of builds to do, what makes the most sense. But he's very responsive, and in his offices too. He's got an administrative assistant that will.
And they're very well meaning, and they're really on top of their game. But the owners have to comply. And if they don't feel like complying because they don't care, they're not going to. And that's the example. That's the unfortunate example I have, is not caring. And like I said, we have ones up the street who are scrupulous, so they care deeply. So, anyway.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public? If not, we'll wrap up early, and we'll see you again in August, when Zone In and Blueprint will be back in front of us.